gonna miss a lot of y'all. Introducing Danny Upchuck, aka D Hurl. That was it.
The most important thing you have to do, is, especially playing a fade, is the most important thing that can happen is you make sure you fade it.
Yep. I sure did. That is such a cool shot. Wow.
Welcome to another episode of Scratch Quest. The Bandon boys are back. Phyllis?
Yeah.
The anticipation is obviously killing me. How was it?
Oh man, I tell you what.
Is it a bucket list must-have golf trip you got to do?
Yes.
1,000%. 1,000%. Like I can't stop talking about it. Like people won't even be talking about golf. I'm just like, hey, I just got back from Bandon Dunes, and they're like, no way. I'll just
That was 2 weeks ago, man. Stop living in the past.
I mean, I feel bad because I just keep throwing it in people's face, but it's great. It was so much fun, man. Like we weren't there long enough, but what we do, 3 days, 2 nights, 3 days,
5 rounds of golf.
Oh man, just clapping cheeks the whole time, man.
Clapping. All right, so set the stage. Give me the timeline. Like Joe, did you fly into Denver?
Yep. Yeah. So when Jonny reached out, he was like, "Yeah, some other guys are coming in like Tuesday night, and then we'll fly out Wednesday morning." I was like, "Cool, I'll be there Tuesday at 8 a.m." So I took the first flight out of Atlanta, got into Denver, and GA train picked me up. And dude, he's got a nice little F-150 on like,
I like it a lot.
35s, 34s.
I like it a lot.
Riding clean.
Yeah, man. So I had a nice pickup from the airport. We went and played University of Denver's course, the ranch.
Highlands Ranch.
And I think we played with a guy that just got off of his probation hearing. Dude was wearing like an ankle monitor, which was interesting. So we had 2 randoms. And
time out, that guy. So first off, he has the ankle monitor on with his sock pulled up over it, like it's gonna hide it or something.
This guy,
nobody'll know.
But then we step up to the first tee, and the guy walks up. He's got a cigarette in his mouth. Typically, people just take the cig out, put it on the ground, and then hit their shot. This guy kept it in there the entire swing.
The whole round he had a dart in his mouth. The whole round.
Was he any good?
He was striping.
Yeah, that he had a hybrid that he just crushed like 270 yards every single time, it felt like.
I tried to buy it off of him at the end of the round. I was like, let me get this hybrid.
Yeah, I got a golf trip coming up.
He didn't take it as a joke. He was like, no. I was like, okay, cool.
He's like, I just got out of jail, man.
Yeah, I don't know. So we played the ranch. It was a good little warm-up round. God, the grass was so thick. Like if you weren't in the fairway, I mean, we had some shot. Jonny was hitting the ball really well. And we get in the car, and I was like, man, I've been like stock 84, shot an 84 on the dot. Jonny shot, what'd you shoot, like a 76, 78, somewhere in there?
Something like that.
Played pretty good. It was a good warm-up round. Like you get a little bit of mountain views, and greens are all right. So we did that. And then, golly, man, we got up at like 6:30, got some coffee in us, and literally drove the truck through the gate at the airport right up to the PJ. You got off the truck, they grab your bags, you get on the PJ, like 5 minutes, you're out of the truck and into the PJ. It was sick, man. I mean,
yeah,
it was badass.
I equate it to like once you go to a sporting event and you sit like in a suite or on the field or you get backstage passes or whatever. Like once you do it, you don't ever go back to the nosebleeds ever again.
No, it was so great, man. The flight, it was like taking off. You could barely feel it. Like the guy was doing, I mean, pretty serious banks. Like we kind of take off and then kind of get on course. And normally I get pretty sweaty and nervous on a commercial flight, but man, I was just drinking coffee, chopping it up with all the guys on the plane. We had 8 guys that flew out there. And the co-pilot kept coming back. He's like, you guys need anything? And he opens up. There's like mini bottles of liquor everywhere, beers, chips, cookies, like everything you could want. And couple guys got some bloodies going pretty early. I was like, man, it's like 7:45. I think I'm gonna wait wait till we got a pretty long day. So
So where did the PJ land? Like, is there a strip near Bandon?
Coos Bay is where
How
we
close?
landed.
about
30
minutes
minutes.
away.
Oh man, because I've heard that's the other thing. Like going commercial is a pain in the ass because you can only fly into Eugene or something, and then it's like a solid 3 or 4 hour drive, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
So
that runway is super short. And if there would have been an excessive amount of moisture on that runway, we would have had to divert to Eugene.
Oh damn.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
That would
I'll
have
tell you
sucked.
what, we nailed the weather. I mean,
Oh,
Yeah,
we
it
had
looked like it.
absolutely perfect conditions, which is funny because a couple of days we were playing, I'm like, golly, this is got to be like 30, 40 mile on wind gusts. And the guy's like, yeah, we're like 12 to 15. This is really mild. And I was like, good geez, man, it was,
it was
there was
crazy.
a couple times where caddies were handing you a club because they've seen you play for a couple of days. And they're like, hey, it's like 160, play at 195. And you're like, what? I mean, every bit of it, man. Like you're clubbing up like almost 20, 30 yards, which made things interesting. But man, when you hit the ball good, they were all over it, except for
You mean the
Johnny had
caddies?
one. Yeah. Oh yeah. Johnny had one that disappeared and we found it.
Oh
But
my gosh.
we'll get
Yeah.
to that. So we flew in, got in the rental cars, drove straight to the preserve.
Yep.
Actually,
Round one.
we went straight to the practice facility. So when you get on site, there's like one main practice facility, and it's like a double-sided range. So you kind of have a
A
little
north and
mini,
south.
yeah, north and south. You hit one way one day, and then the other way the next day, and everybody was out there banging balls for 30, 45 minutes, I was thankful we got a little bit of time on the range before
Yeah.
we got going. But rolled over to the preserve, which is their par 3 course, which is 13 holes. And it overlooks Bandon Dunes and Pacific Dunes. So, I mean, the scenery was just amazing. I couldn't stop taking
Unbelievable.
pictures.
Is it like executive or like short par threes? Like you
Short
only
par
need
threes.
a
Short par
wedge.
threes. Like the longest hole was 140, maybe
Yeah.
150.
But you would hit some really funky shots like a dune would be blocking the green. So you had to really like 85 yards. So you had to kind of hit it up and over a dune.
Had to
And
hit
you're
a
kind of
flop.
like,
Yeah.
hit a flopper. Um,
Some serious elevation changes on that course too. Like there was a couple holes where we're way up there on top of a dune, and I mean the flag and green are down 80, 90 feet below us, and you're hitting it way up and you're facing the ocean, so you hit it way up into the wind, into the sky, and it just slowly just falls down onto the green. It was pretty cool.
dude, the par 3 was fun, man. I was like, oh, par 3 out of the gate. It was really cool. Like the
Yeah.
only thing I'd have done differently is we played all 8 of us at one time, and it made it kind of like you're sitting around waiting to see
Slow.
who's going to hit. And everybody didn't know everybody. Like
Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah.
the guys hadn't played with each other before, so you're being mindful of like etiquette. And a couple of guys like looked like golfers and weren't. A couple of guys that were pretty good that just blew up. They're just like hole 2. They're just like fuck,
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think I was 4 over on the par 3 with a couple birds.
Yeah.
Johnny forgot his Snickers bar and got hungry and packed it in on about hole 7. Um,
You
and
only
then
played 7?
I was ready to go home after that.
he was like, I'm so hungry. Like the guy just mentally folded after like
Got it.
7
Welcome to Bandit. All right, I'm ready to leave.
Yep. So we finished that. Then we had some lunch, and our first round was at Bandon Trails. First real round of golf, immediately following the par 3.
I'd probably say that was the most challenging course that we played the whole time.
Yeah.
Like it reminded me a lot of here, like where you had trees and woods and a lot of trouble you could get into. So you had to be really dialed in off the tee. It didn't feel like it was really long, but some of the holes were like.
And you had a caddy with you for every round?
Yeah, every
round. And we had the best caddies out there. These dudes were so awesome. So much fun.
Yeah, so
that's cool. Because they can totally make or break the experience too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So trails was cool. A lot of walking, a lot of elevation. I mean, I felt like we walked a lot on the par three because you're like uphill, downhill,
Yeah.
and I mean, I was pretty gassed after the par three and flying, and we hadn't had a lot to eat. And I mean, I was just excited to get out there and play the round of golf. So I was like, crush a sando real quick, and guys are starting to drink a little bit, and I was like, I think I had a beer at lunch, and then I was like, nope, let's go. I'm gonna putt and get out there.
Yeah.
And man, to the number, I shot at 84 on trails,
Trails
which
for me. Go ahead. Sorry.
no, it was hard. Like it was a
Yeah.
really hard course. A lot of trouble, and I felt like a lot everywhere we played, the greens were elevated. Like you're always hitting up into a green. Did you feel
Mhm.
that way?
Yeah. That was definitely the case a number of times. You were definitely coming up a hill into a green. Trails for me was my number one course out there. And I think Joe kind of hit it on the head. Out here in Colorado, we have elevation change. We have all that stuff. We don't have trees like that. And this was that, just picture that stereotypical Northwest dense forest with those giant pine trees and all those different conifers and all that stuff. It was so awesome. There were holes when you're walking down, and it just seemed like there was a stadium of trees up behind the green, just towering over you. Um, there were some cool water holes where you had water down a certain side,
Yeah.
and it was just so beautiful walking through there and looking at it. Um, it was definitely probably the hardest of the courses we played. I'm glad we played it early because I got a little squirrely with the driver later in the trip. I would have lost some balls, but
Uh,
definitely top of my list. Bandon Trails, excellent way to start out the trip.
Let me ask
Yeah.
y'all this: since you have to walk, how do you think that changed the experience? Do you think you like slow
I think
things?
it
Everything's slower. You take more in.
100%. I was the cool thing about having a good caddy was I didn't really focus on golf that much. I was able to hit a shot, listen to him, get a club, lock in, hit a shot, and then I could totally just let it go and be immersed in this beautiful arena, this beautiful golf course, and take all of that in. As opposed to, oh my God, where's my ball? Am I good? Am I bad? What am I
Yeah,
gonna do? Like he was, oh, that's perfect right there. That's great. We'll have a little chip shot. We'll be good to go. Or he'll hand you your putter if you're on the green, whatever it is.
Yep.
And so you could just take in the experience, and the courses are just so beautiful. It's really spectacular.
And these caddies, man, these guys are double bagging, and most of the time they're doing 36 holes. On the first day, they caddied for us one round,
Yep.
and man, you could like I didn't really pick up on it until maybe late in the second day or even the third day, but they're like talking to the ball when it's in the air because they don't want it to go in a bunker. Because if it goes in a bunker, they got to put the bags down, go rake your bunker, get over to the other guy. I'm telling you, the first day I played with who did I play with? K Cut, Darren, and Pat.
Patrick. Yeah.
Yeah, and Pat was buddies with one of the caddies, which is kind of how I guess we got set up. So Pat was a really cool guy, not a great golfer, and he would get really mad because he wouldn't hit a good shot. And it's like, dude, I mean, you can just tell by your swing, like you don't play a ton of golf. This guy hit every bunker. I mean, if there was a bunker, if there was a 5 foot radius bunker in the middle of the fairway, like he found it. And I felt bad for his caddy Drew, man. Like the guy must have ranked 100 bunkers, and we didn't do our guy any favors either. We were in the bunker a lot. There was a ton of bunkers on trails. Old Mac had a bunch of bunkers. Dunes had a bunch of bunkers. Um, Sheep Ranch had 0 bunkers, which was nice. The last day we had no bunkers. So
Yeah.
um,
But anyway, day one, I remember limping in. That was a hell of a day. A lot of walking, a lot of travel. I was exhausted at the end of that round. Little steakhouse dinner that night. Day two, getting ready for Pack Dunes, number 2 course in the nation, right there on the water. Absolutely beautiful. Followed by Old McDonald, Old Mac is what they call it. That was our 36th day. Pack Dunes. it was just spectacular. And this was when I realized how weird the weather was there. So it was like 55. I'm out there on the putting green with short sleeve shirt, shorts on, and I can see my breath and I'm sweating at the same time. I was like, what the fuck is going on right now? But that round, we all kind of locked it in. Like day one, we were a little delirious, a little too much travel for me anyway, not enough food at all. But with this one, we got a good night's sleep and we were super excited to play this course, and everybody locked it in and played really good. So it was a lot of fun.
Did y'all play any games or just straight up?
We did. We just did games in our group. We did a deuce pot overall. So if you got a 2 on any hole, you were in the deuce pot. That was for the whole weekend. And then we just played like left, right, and other team games, low ball team games.
Yeah, it was hard to kind of keep track of games because you're just. I feel like I was immersed so much with like the experience. And I didn't want to make it so much about like
winning.
Just, missing everything.
Yeah, $5 putt.
I will say I'm out on all future deuce pots. Johnny loves a deuce pot because he birdies a lot of par threes. I do not birdie par threes. This guy, he's got a birdie look at a par three. He's bitching the whole weekend about fucking deuce pot, and he's like, deuce pot, guys, deuce pot, guys, we're in a deuce pot. How many's doing every day? He brought up deuce pot. So, I mean, dude. And he wouldn't let it go. And finally, like at steak dinner after we played the par 3 and trails, he's like, "Are you guys into the fucking deuce pot or not?" And I was finally just like, "Fine, dude. Like, you sign me up for a hundo. I'll be in your deuce pot, whatever. Like, I got to get close."
Well, I needed because day one on that par 3, everybody
he's still trying to make up for the Calcutta.
Yeah, I'm in a hole right now, bro.
Dude, I had a couple nice birdies on the par 3. I made like a pretty long, like 40, 45 foot putt. Dude, the par save on 13. I had this like everybody was kind of like done with the round, and nobody hit the green. The last hole on the par 3 was really tough. Like you're hitting downhill, it's like 95 yards, but everything slopes off to the right, Nobody hits the green, right? And I'm kind of just over there to the side. I hit this little pillow hands flop shot. I have to like flip it up 5 yards and land it, and I've only got like a yard worth of green to work with. And I stick it to like 3 feet and make a par putt. And I'm looking around, and everybody's like walking to the clubhouse to go get a sandwich. I'm like, did nobody see this fucking shot?
I was sitting at the table like, waiter, excuse me.
Johnny's waiting on his miso soup or whatever you got, and he's like, dude, I just need something in my stomach. But I had a couple of looks at birdie on par 3s, and like I think I missed a couple 4-footers, like typical me, like easy putt, just missed it. So I didn't get in the deuce pot. Dude, John, what course did you eagle? Was that Trails? No, was that Dunes?
Dunes, number 2 on Dunes. I'll never forget it. Par 5, back into the wind, decent drive. I'm in the fairway, and Caddy's like, all right, we can lay up or we can go for it. What are we doing? I was like, give me the fucking 3-wood, bro.
Give me the lumber.
Yeah. And he's like, all right, just stay left, and kind of a downhill lie on this one. And I just skull fucked the shit out of it. And it's screaming. I mean, dude, if I could have planned to hit the shot, like I would have, it's Tiger Woods level stinger. This thing is like 3 to 10. It's like 3 feet high, curving up to 10 feet high max with a freaking cut. Rolls out 270 to like, I don't know, 2.5 feet from the cup. Just catches the slope on the green and just keeps going right to the hole. It was fucking awesome.
What'd the caddy say?
He walked over to the other guy to give him a club after he gave me the 3. So he wasn't there. He was like, good shot. He was pumped. Yeah.
Yeah. You had the same caddy the whole time, didn't you?
Yeah. I had called them beforehand. My buddy Kelly here in town, he used to live out there and was at Bandon all the time. And he was like, Johnny, these are the caddies. These are the guys.
Yeah, he nailed it.
Yeah. And so we got set up with them. Joe was paired up with Kurt Kitayama's little brother, Kitty. Is what we called him.
Total bro.
Total bro. Completely one of my guys. We get to Old Mac, and I whipped out some mushrooms. I was like, "Hey, we're out here in nature. Let's see what happens with this." And I was like, "Hey, Kitty, you want some?" I was kind of joking. I was like, "Yeah, I got some mushrooms if you want some."
Some
He's like, "Oh,
chocolate.
some chocolate." And he's like, "Oh, you have some mush? Oh, yeah, dude. Yeah, give me a piece." So I broke him off piece, me and him, and then we go to the tee box, first tee, and we're teeing off, and fucking eating mushrooms with this caddy. We're playing, and old
My
Mac, for those
caddy.
with
My
with
caddy.
Joe's caddy, not my caddy. I got his
My
caddy all
caddy.
fucked up.
Smart move.
But anyway, we're playing Old Mac, and it's probably the most traditional link style golf course I've ever played in my life. There's just
Wide open.
wide open. There's not a single tree out there. The
There's
one
one.
tree that is out there is called the ghost tree. And if you know, you know. But it's this old tree, died years ago, has no leaves. It's turned gray and silver. And it's just right there in the middle of the fairway on number 3, I think, coming up over the hill.
Yep, 3.
It's really cool. Anyway, I hit it on the wrong side of that tree. Everybody else is going. There it is.
Yep.
Everybody else
Yeah.
is going to the right. My caddy's like, "Yeah, your ball's over there. Go to the left." And I walk right past the ghost tree, and the shrooms are kind of kicking in at this point. And I'm just like, "Whoa, look at this tree." And I get my phone out. I took like 50 pictures of this tree. And I think it's the coolest thing ever. I go and I find my ball, and I get a par on that hole. We go to the next hole, and I
How
think
he parred that hole, I have no idea. He was
I don't either.
literally 150 yards to the left. Like his caddy handed him a club. It was like, "That's a solo mission there, brother. Like, see
Yeah.
you later."
But anyway, par somehow. And we go to the next hole, and then I think it starts to hit Kitty at that point. And we get on the green. It's a par 3. Kitty's there. He's got the flag. He's down in a stance, looking like he's reading a green. And Joe's over here to his right. And everybody's like waiting for Kitty to give him a read and tell him something. Kitty's just like a statue, just sitting there staring at the hole. And he like goes, "Oh man, did you want to play some golf today?" Like gets up and walks over, starts reading Joe's putt. And Joe's like, "What the fuck, man?"
Yeah, he had me. I know. I'm standing behind my ball with my wedge, and he was really good about giving me the club. And he's holding my putter and the flag, just standing there, 20
You
yards
didn't
away.
even have your putter.
No, I'm just standing there with my wedge, and I'm like, "Kitty." He goes, "Oh, did you want to play golf?" He, and mind you, to this point, like Pack Dunes, the first round of the day, Pack Dunes, that was some walking, man. Like we did a bunch of walking, and you had a good mixture of holes that were like on the coastline, so you got that like Bandon Dunes experience. But then they had a bunch of holes that were kind of like not necessarily back in the woods, but kind of sheltered by the dunes. But you were like up and over dunes and walking. There was a lot of walking on day 2 between Pack Dunes and Old Mac.
Yeah.
And before Johnny gave him the chocolat, he said, "I'm just going to tell you right now, man. You'll just look over at me, and I'll just start uncontrollably laughing." And there was a couple of moments later in the round where he's just like laughing. And who was I playing with? Was I playing with K-Cut?
Yeah, K-Cut was on that bag too.
Dude, and K-Cut found every damn bunker on this course, man.
Oh.
Kitty must have raked like 35 bunkers, and he would just start laughing as soon as the ball left the club face. He's like, "Let me go get my rake." Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was pretty fun. There was another time, just funny, just eating shrooms on a golf course. I'm standing there, guy tees off, and he hits the ball. It was a good shot, and I go, "Whoa, did you guys see that? Like his ball, like did ooh." Like, what the fuck are you talking about, Johnny? It's like, you didn't see that? It like knuckled or something.
Oh
It's like,
man.
no, it didn't.
So, would you shoot at Pack Dune, Johnny?
I went low. I shot like a 76.
I think,
Golly.
yeah.
Was this
Well,
before or after mushrooms, or
that was before. That
Little
was
bit of both.
early,
Okay.
early round. So the thing about Pack Dunes and Old Mac was it was pretty wide open, so you
Hmm.
could really afford to be left or right. Like the tee box wouldn't get you in trouble like trails did. So you could just freaking hammer one. And if you're a long hitter like most of us are, you could really save your round. I think after
Yeah.
Pack Dune, Johnny was like, what did I think I shot a 79. No, I
Yeah.
shot a eight. I think I shot a 79. And Johnny was like, how the fuck did you shoot a 79? Like you didn't find the fairway. And he was like, every time I turned around, like you're putting for par or a bogey save or something. I just, cause I got a little bit of short game and I can hit my irons decent. Um, so the tee box didn't really get me in trouble, which was crazy. Cause normally, playing around here, you're blowing off the tee box like you're praying for a bogey, like you're OB or hitting punch out shot or whatever. Out there, man, like you're in this kind of like weird grass where it's like, maybe an inch and a half of like dead grass, and then it's just like sand underneath. So most of your balls, if they're not in the fairway, is like a flyer lie. So you're puring balls that you hit 50 yards off the fairway,
Yeah.
and you can reach the green no problem.
Mhm.
So
You're never out of a hole ever.
no,
How
no,
are the greens? Were they fast?
Dude, every course, the greens were different.
totally different. Each course was like its own. I think it was all the same type of grass. Um, Trails might have been different. I think it was a little bit softer, a little bit slower.
Yeah.
Uh, I remember old Max greens being just rock hard. Like you didn't see one divot out there. They didn't
But they were
receive it all.
slow as shit too.
They were slow. I mean, they were probably like 9-ish, 10-ish, maybe. Um, and I felt like, man, if we didn't have caddies out there, I overread every single green. Like I was like, oh, I see like 2-3% break, and I got it like 2 cups out. He's like, I got like half a cup out, and these guys were dead on it. Like
Hmm.
you think it was just going to take the ball and sling it, and there was some of that, but most of the greens, I mean, they're like, I'd hit it right at it, and man, they were right on the number. So it was
Yeah.
different. Um, the old Mac greens were hard, didn't receive very well, but it made it really challenging. Like you could pull putter from 100 out. I mean, it was crazy. Like you really could. You pull
Some of
putter
those
from 100 out and just
bunkers,
roll up.
some of those bunkers on Old Mac were the most incredible bunkers I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, they had the
We're not,
railroad ties like going like 50 feet down into a bunker, and
dude.
you got to flop
There's like
everything out.
bunkers
Yeah.
like you go in there, if you try to get your ball out, you might not get out for real. Like they're gonna need a helicopter or something to fucking get you out of there.
Yeah.
Like it was unbelievable. And they're unmaintained. So like the wind would come blowing in and it'll catch the lip of the bunker and just blow down. And then so all the sand gets pushed over to one side or something crazy like that. And it's like a rock face with a huge sand mound and like that goes down another 15. What the fuck? Goes down another like 15 feet to it. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Some of those bunkers.
I think late in the day, so that Pack Dunes Old Mac walk, that was a ton of walking. I think we did like
We did 12.
35,000 steps.
It was 12 miles that day.
Yeah, it was a
Damn.
bunch of walking. Uh, I think we were on like 17. I think we're on, maybe it might have even been 18 tee box. The sun's starting to come down, and I'm kind of standing there on the tee box, and Johnny's about to tee off, and Kitty looks at me and just goes, "Shadow, shadow, shadow." And I was looking, I was like, "Kitty, what the fuck are you talking about?" He goes, "Your shadow's over the tee box, bro." And Scott, the other caddy, just starts dying laughing because he's like, "I know exactly what you were saying, but I don't know why you said it like that." Like he just starts dying laughing. And we were just like, it was such a long day. And we were,
Everybody was a little delirious.
I think by about 13 or 14, you're like, oh my gosh, man, I'm coming into the home stretch, and
Yeah.
I'm ready to be done. But some of the articles and things that I read, you guys were like, oh, pack extra socks and have band-aids and tape for blisters and all that. Screw all that. But the Boudreaux's butt cream, man, you got to get some butt cream because the cheeks are just rubbing the whole day. All
Especially
right,
Tip
if
of the
you're
day.
clapping them
they
cheeks too.
the cheeks are clapping and they're rubbing, and man, by the end of the day, my ass was just tore up. We gotta get something, man.
You were
Phil
So
gave me
walking
the
like you
best
just got off a
advice.
horse.
So I brought a change of underwear, a change of socks, and a different pair of cleats for round 2. And we're walking over, and I'm like, yeah, I'm about to change and stuff. And Joe's like, man, I'm just going to go wipe my ass really good. I'll be all right. Dude, don't underestimate a good ass wipe in between rounds. That was a game changer. It was really a good move.
Had to
Take
do it.
notes, folks. Take
Everybody's
notes.
like, everybody's like, I'm going to what was cool about every course was they had, you don't traditionally go like 9, then you're back at the clubhouse, right? You kind of just go out and then you kind of come all the way back after 18. But I think like every 3 or 4 holes, they had these little like halfway houses, and these things are stocked with like everything, man. They had
Oh,
bars and hot dogs and uh,
protein balls.
these little protein. So Johnny's about to launch these new Scratch Quest protein balls. They're like peanut butter, chia seeds, honey, chocolate chips,
Ooh,
and they package them in like a golf ball sleeve. So they have like 3 little golf
ooh,
balls in there.
that's actually genius.
Dude, mid round, I ate a couple of those and I was like, I'm not hungry. I'm good to go. Like, let's just crush the rest of the round. The other guys were just slamming high noons. I mean, and the caddies don't want you to put like water and stuff in their bag.
Yeah.
Like I put like a half a water bottle in my bag, and my guy, the first day, my guy just kept pulling it out and setting it next to my club. Like, hey, dude, I'm carrying 2 bags. Like, carry your own. Some of these guys are walking around Bandon, and they're like walking down the fairway, and they've got like 2 nooners in their pocket. They're double fisting nooners walking down the fairway, and I'm like, God, I didn't want to drink while I was playing because I wanted to enjoy it more. But it was pretty funny to see, like, you see guys like set down 4 nooners and then hit a shot and then repack their pockets and walk down the fairways. It was pretty funny.
So Joe, we got to tell them about your putt. Was that on Sheep Ranch or was it on Old Mac?
So yeah, all right. So day 2, we did Pack Dunes Old Mac. Day 3, I thought I was in trouble because I woke up on the second day and like my foot was just killing me. And I was like, I don't know how I'm going to walk today. Took some meds, got it loosened up. I thought day 3, there was like no way I'm going to be able to play golf. I woke up day 3, I was freaking ready to go. I think I shot a 79 at Pack Dunes, maybe an 81 at Old Mac, something like that. Like not bad, but got kind of tired. Day 3, I woke up and we're on West Coast time. So I was up at 4:30 in the morning and I'm rooming with Johnny and I'm like laying there looking at my phone and I'm like, man, like nothing's open. I'm looking at coffee shops. Like, what time does coffee shops open up? And Johnny said he woke up in the middle, like he wakes up, he looks over, and he just sees like my face lit up in the middle of the night,
It's
4:30
like
in the
2
morning.
o'clock. I'm like, what the fuck's he doing right now?
I mean, it's 7:30 for me, and it's 4:30 in the morning. So I get up at like 5:30 on was Thursday or Friday? It was Friday, yeah, the third day, whatever day we were there, and went to downtown Bandon. I mean, downtown. It's like a little town by the water. Super cool views. You got these like rocks coming out of the water. You're on the
Dude,
cliffs. It was sick.
time out. So I've never been to that section of the United States before. I just
Me
thought there was a
neither.
bunch of woods and a beach. Dude, we get to this hotel and we go over to the cliff. Everything's up on a cliff, like 100, 200 feet above the ocean. And so it's a really spectacular view. What made it even better were these rock formations out in the water. It looked like I felt like I was in Thailand or something crazy exotic like that. It
Yeah,
was the most unbelievable scene.
it was cool. I'd never seen anything like that either.
Yeah.
So that morning, I went to Bandon Coffee. It's like right there in the little downtown area, and grabbed a cup of coffee and a breakfast sando and just kind of sat out on the docks and just like chilled. And I'm like texting everybody. I said, hey, I know I said the early bus was leaving at 8:30. We're leaving at 7. Like, be ready to go. So we had some guys that were like show and goes. They hit a couple balls, and then we had 3 or 4 guys that were like, yeah, we'll get there early, hit some balls. So the last day we played Sheep Ranch, and it's like all the way in the back of the property. And the good thing was they actually had their own driving range there, because the whole property has like one main practice facility, but Sheep Ranch is so far back that they got their own practice green or driving range.
Do they just like shuttle you from the hotel to each
We had
course?
cars.
If you stay there, yeah. So we booked this so close to the time that we played that all the properties were like booked up. So we had like a little motel hotel like 15 minutes away. So we had our own car so we could kind of get to and fro, which was good. So we get there, and the guy that's grabbing your clubs and checking you in, he's like, "Oh, what time are you guys playing?" And I was like, we're like I think we're 9:45 and 9 or 10 o'clock tea time, something like that." And the guy was like, "Oh wow, you're early." So do a little clubhouse shopping, and I will say this: I was not very impressed with the logos of each course. Like,
Very
not
plain.
one. Yeah, like the Bandon Dunes one is the duck head, or the what's the bird called?
Puffin.
Yeah, puffin head. Uh, we were talking to the caddies. I was like, "What's your favorite logo?" And what's cool is each course has its own pro shop, and the head pro is responsible for what type of gear and like how they merch their course out. He's like, Pack Dunes is probably one of the top rated courses, but it looks like two seals 69 in each other, so that's kind of weird. Uh, Bandon Trails is like a butterfly with the giant letters that says Bandon Trails. Um, the Old Mac course, which Gleason, I got you a nice little shirt from Old Mac. It's a silhouette of the ghost tree, which is pretty cool. And then they have a secondary logo, which is like an M with two golf clubs crossing. And then Sheep Ranch is like a big staff with a hook on it, and it just says SR. Um, so we shot a little bit there at Sheep Ranch, and then I go out to the range, and I think I got out to the range at like 7:45 for a 9:45 tee time, and I was like, I got to figure some shit out. Like, I was not hitting the ball good, driver was not dialed in, like my short game and irons had kind of saved me, and I took the spot like all the way down at the end of the range, so I was like the last one in, and I probably banged balls for like hour and a half, something like that, and then Johnny comes walking up. So what'd you say when you?
So, so you had to walk over to the range, and they had the tee boxes or the range boxes set up on the far side, which was literally like 150 yards away. So I'm walking up, and you're walking through the woods. You come into a clearing, and it's a giant driving range. And I see this one guy all the way over at the end, the far end of the range. And to this point, like, we haven't seen a lot of like golfers out there. It's a bunch of just like fat dudes or nerds out there hitting golf balls. And I'm like, I'm watching this guy hit, and I was like, damn, that guy's kind of striping it over there. And I'm walking, and like, he hits another one. I'm like, man, that guy's got a pretty good looking swing. And I keep walking, and I'm like, is that fucking Joe? Oh my God. And I was like, oh, take it all back.
Take it all back. Take it all
Walking
back.
up though, I was like, man, this guy's a fucking stick over here. Who is that guy?
So
It was
I
funny.
was in the zone of like last day, haven't really done anything special. It's time to like turn it on. I was pumped on day three. Like, I was feeling really good. Had a good little sando. Got up early. Got about 10 cups of coffee in me. I was like fired up, ready to go. After like an hour of hitting on the range, went and putted for like 30 minutes, and then I just kind of like chilled out. And I really really liked Sheep Ranch. I thought that they had some of the more picturesque holes. Like, there's one picture of me in my backswing, and you got like the cliff that's kind of circling around, so you can see like the cliffs and the ocean and the fairway.
Mm-hmm.
And first time I've ever done this, I was even on the front nine. Went even. I don't even know. I think I had one birdie, and I missed like three other birdie putts. But I was even, and then on 10, Johnny turns around. He's like, "What'd you shoot on the front?" And I was like, "I was even. Shut the fuck up, please. Like, leave me alone."
My bad.
There goes
Yeah,
the no hitter.
man. And then I came out and bogeyed 10. I got a snowman on 11, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, the wheels are falling off." And it was a scramble. I mean, an absolute scramble for me to like get it together and put a couple
What
decent
you
holes
played
together.
pretty good though. What'd you finish with?
I shot a 78 because I missed an eagle and a birdie putt on 18, and my career low is a 77.
Mm,
So, and I had
yeah.
so many opportunities to. I mean, but I made some like 12, 15 foot par putts to keep us in some of those rounds. Those like whole. We were on the same tour
Yeah.
for a while. Like, I was like
Yeah.
scrambling for par, scrambling for bogey. I mean, I hit a lot of really good golf shots. I had like two or three holes that I just kind of fell
So
apart on.
I think it was like hole 13 or something, maybe 14. I don't know. It was somewhere
14,
in
the
14.
the par three.
Yeah, Joe hits one. Like, I mean, these greens are massive. They're like, 50 to 75 yards wide and deep. Every
Well,
single one. They're huge.
this was the double green. So you had the par three, which was hole number two, which you're
No,
hitting
no, no, no.
towards.
I'm talking about that crazy putt that you had.
Oh, dude, yeah, that was
So
par four.
4. Yeah, it was your
Yeah,
second shot in. He's literally 100 yards away from the hole, it seems, all the way on the backside at the top of the hill. He's standing up there. I see Kitty coming up there to give him a read. And he's like, Kitty, what do you think? And he goes, what do you think? I was like, he's like, I don't fucking know.
I'll set the table after this putt. Kitty walks out to me. He goes, "Man, I was looking at your ball," and he's like, "I do not want to give you a read on this because I mean it was like probably 20 feet downhill
At
with
least
4 or 5 different breaks." And he's like, "If you go on this side of the ridge, you could end
you
up
got to ride a
pretty close to."
spine. Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, you can ride the spine, you could try to play this break. There's a break over here, you could do this, do that. And I bombed a drive. Like I just absolutely smoked a drive. And I just pured like a 54 or something. And he's like, hey, hit it 90. And I think I hit it like 130. Like, and it just rolls up to the top of this hill. And I had this, and this was like after I had gone even, and after I had I think I went bogey, triple bogey, and then I went par, par, par. And then it was kind of like, okay, great. We're looking at another bogey to go 5 over here. And man, I hit this putt and it just breaks left, breaks right, goes down the hill, catches another hill, turns
Well,
over left. And
the best
go ahead.
part is Kitty's up there and he's like, all right. He's like, so I think you got to start it right here, ride the spine, don't go too far right. It's going to come back over here. It'll catch this ridge and drop down over here. And he's like, from here to the hole, we just got to hope that the wind hits it and kind of pushes it back to the cup. And I'm just like, wow, okay, the wind. Let's see this. And if fucking Joe hits it, does everything that Kitty just told him to do, and it gets to that spot, and I'm standing at an angle where here's the flag and here's the ball. I'm looking at it so I can see the speed really well. And it's slowing down, and then it picks up speed. The wind fucking hit this ball and it moved it an extra like 5 feet right to the cup. I mean, 6 inches from the cup.
Oh
It
shit!
was the most incredible thing I've ever seen.
Dude, if I'd have made that putt, the fact that I saved par from there was, I mean, incredible. It was
It
like one
had
of those putts where like, like when you just take a nice smooth in tempo putter stroke, and like you don't even feel it come off the club face. You're like, oh man, why can't I do that every time? And you're just watching it and you're like, oh, it's doing everything I thought it was going to do. There it is. It's tracking. It's tracking. It's tracking. It was great,
dude,
man.
literally that ball probably traveled no less than 150, 175 feet total.
Yeah.
That's how like big of a wraparound crazy putt it was. It was wild.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
So I think the next hole was that par three, and we had like it was probably like 140 to the pin, and we had to play at like 165. He was like, it's 140, play at 165. And on top of this, these guys are saying, oh, you're from Denver, so play at 165, more like 175 at Denver, or 155 or whatever. They were adjusting for elevation too, and oh my gosh. After that, I like this is so that was the green. There was hole number 2, which was the par 3, and then it shared a green. So holes number 2, the green was elevated, and then the green continued down a hill to hole number like 14 or 15, and it was a shared green. So on 2, I like blew it over there, and I had to take a drop.
So you already knew.
Yeah,
You'd already been over there before.
so there's this giant dune that separates like not really the fairway, but kind of like the approach to the par 3 from 15 or 14, and then 2. And I like hossled one over the hill, right? Like went straight over this dune, and I was the last guy to hit. And we're walking up, and all of a sudden this ball just comes trickling down like 15 feet from the cup because the hill was so big. Like I had enough to carry the dune, and then it hit the green and just kind of cascaded down to where I was actually putting for birdie. The shot before that, Johnny pulls like a 6-iron or something.
He hands it
And,
to me. He's like, hey, we're into the wind here. This seems like a lot of club. Just trust me. Hit a 3/4. Give it a 3/4 swing here. Hit it.
and if you go long, like the
You're
hole
on a
is
cliff.
like you're on a cliff.
The
surrounded by
freaking
nothing but
green
cliff.
is like a peninsula
Yeah.
hanging off a cliff 200 feet above the ocean. So it's crazy. And well, anyway, I have been hitting the ball high all week. I didn't hit it high this time. I hit
You
that Tiger Woods stinger
Pured
and
it.
I pured the shit out of it. And it was just a laser. And it goes over the hill. And I'm like, oh, what's there? He's like, dude, it's a cliff. It's not good.
It's
I'm like,
300 feet
oh,
straight down. Like it
oh
just
my God.
goes. It's right over the top of the pin, and then we just see the ball disappear, and we're like,
No bounce, no
bye-bye.
nothing. So I walk up thinking my ball's gone. I'm like, oh, well. And sure enough, there's a ball there right on the edge of the cliff. I'm like, what the fuck? I swear to you, there was probably 5 yards of land between like the top of the hill and the edge of that cliff. It carried the top of that hill and somehow landed and stopped. I'm pretty certain that the ball landed, bounced off of the cliff, and because of the wind blowing so hard, it blew it back up and it just popped right up there on the edge. Me and Joe stood there and we threw balls in the air to see how much the wind would blow it. We throw a ball 10 feet in the air and it would blow it like a good foot and a half to the right.
Damn.
It was
Just stand-
crazy.
Just
Wait,
toss
so
the
when
ball
you had
straight
to
up in
hit
there.
that shot, were you on the green or you were just off? Like, were you right next to the edge of the cliff when you were hitting this?
Less than a
Yeah.
foot. Like your heels were sitting on the
Were
edge of
you
the
like
cliff.
looking over the edge and shitting your pants?
Man, I'll be honest, I didn't even think about it until just now. I was fucking locked in, dude.
Like that Jordan Spieth shot.
He's probably so elated that his ball stayed there. I mean, I don't even know
Yeah.
if you could fall. I think you could probably lean forward, and the wind would just kind of push you back over
I do
towards the green.
remember sitting there looking down and the wind was moving my hat and it was like distracting me. But yeah, I wasn't thinking about falling off at all for some reason. Yeesh.
All right, so Joe, your favorite course was Sheep Ranch.
It was probably. I mean, they're
Can
all.
you rank them in order?
Yeah, it's pretty
Oof.
tough. I'd say I played the best at Sheep Ranch. I was pretty dialed in. A couple of the holes at Sheep Ranch, like, dude, I don't know, man. It's like 1A, B, C, and D. I'd probably say Old Mac was probably my least favorite, but I still enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy the greens and how hard they were. And I just didn't really play that good because it was the second round of the day and the cheeks were rubbing. I mean, I had the red ass pretty much that whole round. Pack Dunes. I liked Pack Dunes. I like trails too, man. I'd probably say Sheep Ranch and Pack Dunes were probably like 1A, 1B. And then Trails was 2 and Mac was 3, something like that. But we didn't get to play Bandon Dunes because we didn't have enough time. But I felt like you got the experience between some of the holes at Pack Dunes and Sheep Ranch that you pretty much knew what Bandon Dunes was going to be like.
So y'all played Sheep Ranch. That was your fourth round, and then did you take off after that? Went back to Denver.
Yeah, we loaded up the cars and hit all the pro shops. Everybody wanted to, because I wanted to go around and see all the merch before I figured out what I was going to get. Because I didn't love the logos, but they had some pretty fresh gear. But I was also trying to ball on a budget out there because Mama wasn't too thrilled with me gone for a week. But yeah, I probably liked Sheep Ranch and Dunes the best. It just Sheep Ranch was probably the easiest walk too. So like I was ready to go play another. I probably could have played another 36 holes after Sheep Ranch, and that's one of
Yeah.
the newer courses too. So a lot of people
Newest.
a lot of people that I haven't that I've talked to like haven't gotten a chance to play Sheep Ranch, and it was pretty sick. A lot of really cool
Yeah.
holes. It was crazy what the wind would do to your ball, and there were some times where I felt like I was facing the ocean, and the wind was blowing towards the ocean, and I'm like, how is this possible? And I guess we don't play with a lot of wind here, but the caddies were just like, yeah, when you are hitting into the wind, and I might have this backwards, hitting into the wind, it's not going to affect like your ball moving left and right a lot because it's going to knock a lot of the spin off. When you're hitting with the wind, like, and I have a cut. Some would say a slice. I say a power cut, but there were some holes where my guy Kitty was just like, dude, you got to hit a 3-iron here because if you let this thing fly, like it could go 200 yards to the right. Like that's just how much the wind affected your
Mm-hmm.
ball and if you had spin on it. So it was challenging, but it was fun thinking about hitting different shots and just kind of working with your caddy. Like I played with one guy the first day, and then I had Kitty the next 3 rounds. And the last day was pretty fun because he kind of knew what I was looking like, what I was looking at, what kind of shot I felt comfortable hitting. And there was a couple of times where he was like, "Hey, you remember that shot on Pack Dunes where you hit that little low runner?" He's like, "This is a great opportunity to do that and keep yourself out
Yeah,
of trouble, run one
that's
up
cool.
there." So it was fun, man. There were a bunch of slapdicks out there like walking the course without caddies, and I was like, you go out there, spend a couple $100 a round, and you're trying to save money on not using a caddy. Like the caddies made it so much more enjoyable
Yeah.
because I didn't have to push my cart or carry my bag. They were giving me reads. They knew exactly where my ball was. Like keep the conversation going. Like it was fun. It was just all around a freaking amazing trip.
I would have shot over 90. I would have been mid to upper 90s if I didn't have a caddy.
Yeah.
Don't know
You
where to
shot.
go. And the greens, dude, like the first two holes or first couple holes, I was reading the greens myself, and he would say like, "Oh, what are you thinking?" I'm like, 2 cups left. He's like, "No, dude, it's like 3 feet over here." Like, what the fuck? And then at first I was like, "Fuck this guy. I can see it. There's my read." And I hit it, and it would just break like crazy. And I'm like, "Oh my god, I need to just listen to him and do it." And
This
yeah,
guy
they
might have
definitely
changed
made
my life. This guy's the Scott was like the #1 club fitter in California or something like that.
yeah.
And after a couple of holes, he's just like, "Dude, you're lined up to the left. Like you're every time you line up, you're lined up left." And the next morning,
That
Johnny's
was
like,
I was on mushrooms. I was all high.
but I mean, there's a couple putts where like he put some sticks down and he's like, "Look, man, like you're lined up." So the next day, Johnny's out on the putting green, and he's like got those sticks out, and he's like
I
grinding
literally
over like putts, getting lined up, and he's like, "Fuck, man."
brought the
Time to get,
alignment stick to the putting green. Never done that one before.
yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah. All in
That's
all,
Johnny,
awesome.
amazing trip.
what? So give me your rankings on the courses, Johnny.
So this is like just because you have to give it a number, but they're so closely ranked. It's all like
Yeah.
1A, B, C, and D. But I'm going Bandon Trails, #1 for me. #2 is probably Pack Dunes. 3 is Sheep Ranch, and 4 is Old Mac.
Yeah.
And I think I need to see Old Mac again to give it a fair shake.
I'd like to play it first because I think that second round of the day, because that was really the only course that we played after we like grinded over 18, and then we had to
Yeah.
suck it up for another 18.
Yeah.
So I mean, everybody first couple of holes we were feeling pretty good, having a good time, but then it kind of once you get over the hill to past the ghost tree, like you really start walking up and down the hill a lot. Like there was a lot of
These
walking on
dunes,
Old Mac.
those dunes are huge. Huge.
Yeah. So Andrew, what did you do?
Just sat around waiting on pictures from you guys.
I tried to send you a couple. I got a few out there.
I'm the
You
worst at
did.
that.
It was. It looked awesome.
Yeah.
I tell you what, that's definitely a trip that I mean, normally like a big trip like that's kind of like hey, we're doing it once and we're doing it right. We're doing
You would do it again?
I would do it again like next year. Like I would find a way to make it work. It was,
Yep.
I mean, the PJ definitely enhanced the experience. I know that's not going to be on the table every time, but
I don't know, man.
I think it would be kind of fun to like do a Eugene road trip it down, like I would stay on property is what I would do. I wouldn't even worry about the transit. I would get on property, like just spread out the rounds a little bit. I try to play early in the morning so I wasn't finishing up so late.
Yeah.
And we tried to talk about how you would structure. I mean, because playing 36 like 3 days in a row or 2 days in a row, that's a lot. I mean, to be honest with you, my ankles and knees and feet kind of held up pretty well. But there's definitely a way that we could tackle it. I mean, because you don't want to go there for 7 days and try to get it all like 18 in a day. But the one thing we didn't do was the punch bowl, which is like this giant putting course that they have.
Yeah.
And we just didn't have any time. I mean, there was no time. Like we we got on site, we played golf, we ate lunch, we played golf, we had dinner, we got up, we played golf all day.
Yeah.
We, grabbed a sandwich at the bar and went home and went to bed and got up and played golf and flew out. Like we couldn't pack any more in.
Yeah.
So,
well, it sounds awesome. And like you said, the pictures, because that's the one thing that everybody I've talked to is like Bandon Dunes it's either the greatest thing in the world, or if you catch it at the wrong time, you go all the way out there and spend all that money, and it's like you're playing in the 50-mile-an-hour winds and the fog. And
yeah, we nailed the weather, man. Like Johnny said, it was a little cool in the mornings. I mean, shorts and a pullover, and then like after like 10 swings, you're pulling your pullover off.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, that's perfect.
The wind kind of like kept you cool, and then towards the end of the day, you get a little chilly, but you were walking so much that like your body temperature stayed, warm enough that you're like, you were straight. Some guys wear pants. I probably wouldn't wear pants out there this time of year, but we nailed it, man. What was it? September? Yeah, September was like the perfect time to go.
It was pretty good for sure.
Johnny, what was the one thing you said you had to tell us?
All right, guys. So we're watching DP Tour the other day, that BMW the other day. Did you guys watch that? It's pretty good.
No.
But anyway, the announcers are talking about short game. Oh, this guy's got an amazing short game. And he's talking about this book. And the guy who wrote it, his name's Paul Runyon. And he's like, yep, that's the greatest book on short game ever written. I'm like, let me see if I can find this. I need some help. And so I go to Google this thing. And I'm like, all right, this can't be it. Every single book was $200. And then I'm like, really interested now. I'm like, why the fuck is this $200? What's in this book? Like, what the fuck's going on here? And I start doing a little more research. I guess they stopped printing it. But anyway, this guy, his name's Paul Runyon. He won like 29 times on tour back in the 30s, 40s, 50s, I guess, back then. And his nickname was Little Poison. Because he was a tiny little guy and he would kill you with his short game.
Oh.
I thought it was the greatest fucking nickname ever. But literally, this book is $200 used.
Damn.
That's in like perfect condition. I found a hardback copy, like an unscathed hardback copy, for $1,100.
Did you buy it?
No, I found one for $69 on eBay.
Okay.
And I'm trying to talk myself into buying that one. But $69 for a used book that has a bunch of lines, like a bunch of shit underlined in it.
That is crazy. I've never even heard of that guy.
I know, right? Look him up. Little Poison. Fuck you up.
Little Poison. Little Scratch Quest homework.
Little Poison.
I thought that was great.
Did you?
That is good.
Surprised you didn't spend $1,100 and then call Sarah right after.
Yeah.
Guess what
the investment that I just made.
It's a first edition.
Babe, you can read it after me, and then the girls read it. Get our money's worth.
Do bedtime stories.
Well, man, Johnny, I appreciate the invite. That was a great time. I don't know if Jess listened to the show, but appreciate him pulling me out there. That was like a once in a lifetime thing. My wife didn't even bat an eye. She's like, "You got to go." So she's already got like
That's cool.
Pictures printed off for my office, and I got some flags. I ordered some flags from the pro shop to put them up on the wall. Like, so
that's tight.
I
wish we would have done the photographer thing.
Dude, they have a package where like a photographer follows you around. I tell you what I would do is I wouldn't take a single picture. I would just take videos because you can grab screenshots from the videos. The quality is not as good, but the pictures that I have are from the video swings, and you can kind of get that like moment. Like there's one of me hitting over the cliff where the calf game is strong and the cheeks are just clapping, the fun.
That was hilarious. We had a couple of videos of the swing, and me and Joe are breaking down our swings.
We're at dinner, and everybody's like, "What are you guys looking at?" We're like literally like slow-mo looking at our swing, and Johnny's like, "Dude, this isn't a bad position, man. Look at those cheeks. Them things are just clapping, baby. You got the follow through." I died laughing.
Nice. All
Good
right. I'm
times.
jealous I missed. I'll have to keep it on the list. Maybe we can make it happen.
For sure.
Maybe when we get that dude wipe sponsor, we can
Yeah.
get
The
a
Scratch
PB
Crest
out there.
protein balls.
There you go.
Dude, I've really thought about making those, going to a local course and being like, yo, just try to sell these.
Yeah. I mean,
They're great.
They were
never know.
really, really good. They were addicting.
Did you get the ingredients?
I found it online. Very similar product.
We can find a
Um,
manufacturer and rip it off of them and throw our
Dude,
logo on it.
and like the packaging is so perfect. And people need that type of snack on
Put
the
it in
course.
like a golf, like a Titleist box,
Yeah.
like a sleeve of balls.
Well, that's what they did.
Oh,
And it
I think
nice.
said
it has like a
Bandon
plastic
protein
bag.
balls inside
Yeah.
of a plastic bag inside of a sleeve of balls.
They did leave your fingers a little oily, so that's the one feedback I would get.
Yep. Yep.
Noted.
Whatever.
We'll let the
Yeah.
manufacturers know.
Well, you
All right,
guys,
fellas.
you got anything good coming up? Any good rounds on the boat? I got nothing. I'm on golf. I'm on a golf freeze after that trip from my
I
wife.
might be playing in South Korea.
Hello.
Oh, that's very nice. You should play night golf.
How badass does that look?
Yeah,
I
you should
haven't
definitely try to find night
looked at
golf
it, but yeah,
because that'll be
I'm
like
gonna
daytime for us.
I'm gonna try and play once or twice out there. I'm not gonna bring my clubs, but I'm gonna try and play just to say I did.
Yeah, I
Clubs will
think
be too short for you. Oh,
extra stiff.
oh, extra.
Oh boy.
Yeah, buddy.
Off the tracks.
Yeah, let's call this
All
quits
right.
before I get me too'd.
South Korea, and then John and I are meeting in Arizona for Thanksgiving again.
Nice.
Got a little
I
bit
wanna
of
get
time
out
for
there.
that, but yeah.
Yep, that'll be good. I
Yeah.
got the member guest at TPC Las Colinas
Oh
with
yeah.
K-Cut.
When is that?
October. It's in October. It's in a month. It's the 18th.
You gotta keep your game dialed in.
Yeah, I've been grinding on the short game lately. Once I
Alignment
get that
sticks on the
book,
putting green.
yeah,
Little-
alignment
little-
sticks. I'll get
little
that
poison.
book. I'll be dialed.
All right. Yeah, we'll have to have a Paul Runyon segment.
Little poison.
I'm telling you, like, look it up. I got to find out what the name is just so we can let our listeners know. All 7 of you.
little poison.
Little Poison short game book.
Kitty did say he would come on and do the Scratch Quest show with us, man. I had one ball marker in my bag. It was Scratch Quest ball marker, and I gave it to him, and he was like all fired up, and
Hell
he's
yeah.
like, "Oh, that's great, man! Like, you guys got like how many influencers do you have?" I was like, "Yeah, we got like
Tons.
100 followers maybe," but he was still fired up, dude. He was like, "That's awesome. It'd be fun to."
Kitty's got a big golf trip coming up. Remember he was talking
Yeah.
about like Instagram model or something?
Yeah. He said he had some like OnlyFans Instagram influencer, the girls that wear all the golf clothes or whatever, and she came out to the sheep ranch and pegged it from the greens and shot like an 85, and he said she was pretty good, so he was going to go out to Dallas and meet up with K-Cut and then play some golf with her or something. So
Yeah.
Damn. Nice.
So the name of the book is called Paul Runyon's The Short Way to Lowering Scores.
there you go.
Johnny's gonna buy a copy and then photocopy every page and then put it in a PDF.
Dude, like I thought for sure I'd be able to find something like that online, a digital copy or some bullshit.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
There's nothing. You can't find it.
That's how you know it's
mean,
good.
Yeah.
I've never heard of the guy's name till you mentioned it.
Paul Runyon, baby.
All right, fellas. That's good stuff.
Good
Till
recap.
next time. Yeah.
Yep.
Peace.
See you guys later.